Welcome back to the channel, men. Today, we're going to address one of the biggest lies you've been told your whole life. The idea that somewhere out there is the right woman for you. That magical soulmate. That perfect match waiting to fall into your lap if you just wait long enough or swipe enough. Let me make this very clear right from the start. There is no right woman for you. That entire belief system is designed to keep you passive, weak, and endlessly searching instead of building. The truth is much simpler, but far more uncomfortable. You don't find the right woman, you choose one, and you make it work. You create the conditions. You build yourself into a man who attracts the kind of woman you want, and you lead the dynamic from there. Women don't come fully formed to fit you. They adapt to the strength, vision, and standards you bring to the table. Too many men waste years, even decades, sitting on the sidelines, obsessing over finding the one, as if she's some lost puzzle piece floating around. Meanwhile, powerful men out there are choosing, leading, and shaping their relationships according to their purpose, not some fairy tale destiny. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how you stop searching for the mythical right woman and start learning how to get a woman for yourself. You'll see why this mindset shift is absolutely crucial if you ever want to succeed in the dating world or life in general. So sit tight, because this might challenge almost everything you've been taught about women, relationships, and what it means to be a man. Before we start the video, I want to remind you that my exclusive online course on mastering the dating game is available now. If you've been learning from my YouTube videos, you're only scratching the surface. This course goes deeper, teaching you everything you need to know about the dating game, from approaching a woman to building real attraction. We just finished section 5 in the course, and you won't find this information on videos on my channel. It's easy to access with a secure payment option. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or click the link in the description to enroll now and improve your dating life. 1. Soulmates don't exist. Men have been sold a fantasy for generations. The idea that out of billions of people, there's one perfect woman out there who was made just for you. This is one of the most damaging lies you can believe as a man, because the moment you believe in soulmates, you hand over control of your life to luck, fate, or destiny. You sit back waiting for her to show up, instead of becoming the kind of man who can build the relationship he wants with whoever is willing to follow his lead. The reality is simple. Women aren't created specifically for you. No woman was born with a label that says yours. Instead, relationships succeed because of effort, leadership, and standards. A man with a strong sense of direction can take many women and shape a relationship that works. Not through manipulation, but through leadership, clarity, and values. The soulmate myth creates passivity. It makes you overlook good women because you're constantly measuring them against some imaginary perfect standard. You end up thinking, she's not quite right for me, when in reality, no woman will be just right without you setting the tone. Take this for example. Think about a man who spends years looking for a woman who shares every one of his hobbies, interests, and beliefs. Think about a man who spends years looking for a woman who shares every one of his hobbies, interests, and beliefs. Eventually, he meets a woman who doesn't like his favorite sport, isn't into his favorite music, and has different tastes. If he believes in soulmates, he rejects her. But if he understands reality, he sees potential. He leads the relationship, establishes his standards, and builds mutual respect. Over time, she adapts to his world because she values who he is and the strength he brings. Men who believe in soulmates get stuck chasing perfection. Men who understand the truth focus on becoming high-value men, knowing that women will be drawn to that. From there, they create compatibility through shared experiences, clear leadership, and mutual growth. The sooner you let go of the soulmate fantasy, the sooner you take control. You don't wait for the one. You become the one she wants to follow. 2. You're the prize, not her. One of the most destructive mentalities men fall into today is placing women on a pedestal. They walk into relationships believing that they're lucky if a woman chooses them, that they have to impress her, that her attention is some kind of reward. This is completely backward. As a man, you are the prize. You are the one who brings stability, leadership, vision, and protection to a relationship. Without a man's direction, most women struggle to feel secure or fulfilled. Yet, too many men walk around believing it's the woman who holds all the value. That's the kind of thinking that leads to neediness, desperation, and weakness. The very things that turn women off. You see it everywhere. Men who can't say no. Men who tolerate disrespect because they're afraid to lose her. Men who bend over backwards, hoping she won't leave. They hand over all the power in the relationship, thinking if they just do enough, she'll stay. But what actually happens? She loses respect. Because deep down, women aren't attracted to men who chase. They're drawn to men who stand firm. When you see yourself as the prize, everything changes. You no longer seek her approval, she seeks yours. You no longer tolerate bad behavior. You have standards she must meet. You no longer stress about losing her, because you know you can attract another woman if necessary. Women are naturally drawn to strength, confidence, and certainty. A man who values himself creates that energy without saying a word. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect. When you know your worth, you don't beg for attention. You allow women to qualify themselves to you. You're not desperate for her to stay. You're evaluating if she's worthy to stay. The problem is, many men have been trained to think the opposite. Society tells you to worship women. Movies, media, and even some dating coaches feed you this nonsense about endlessly pursuing her, proving yourself, and doing whatever it takes to win her over. But this approach puts her in control, and women aren't attracted to men they control. The moment you flip that mindset, you stop acting out of fear and start leading with confidence. You don't chase women who aren't interested. You don't fight for women who test your boundaries. You simply live your life with standards, and the right women will be drawn to that strength. Being the prize doesn't mean being cold or disrespectful. It means knowing your value, refusing to tolerate nonsense, and expecting the woman to meet your standards, not the other way around. You build your life first. You build your mission first. Women are the complement to your journey, not the center of it. 3. Stop chasing, start choosing. One of the biggest mistakes men make is chasing women. This mindset has been drilled into men from a young age that it's their job to pursue, impress, and convince a woman to be with them. But what most men don't realize is that chasing automatically puts them in a position of weakness. It signals to the woman that you need her more than she needs you. And the more you chase, the less she values you. When you chase, you're putting all the power in her hands. You're telling her, "You have something I desperately want." That creates an imbalance where she now gets to set the terms, test your limits, and decide if you're good enough. Over time, this dynamic drains your confidence because you're constantly seeking her approval instead of standing firm in your own value. The real power is in choosing, not chasing. When you choose, you approach women from a position of abundance, not scarcity. You know there are plenty of women out there, and you're not desperate for any one particular woman. You're evaluating whether she meets your standards, fits into your life, and adds value to your mission. Choosing means you have control over your emotions and your actions. You're not bending over backward to impress her or trying to win her affection. You're calmly observing how she responds to your leadership, your vision, and your standards. If she aligns with what you're looking for, great. If not, you move on without hesitation. The problem is, most men have been conditioned to fear losing any woman who gives them attention. They hold on tightly, thinking she's the only shot they'll get. That fear creates pressure, and women can sense it immediately. Pressure kills attraction. Confidence builds it. When you choose instead of chase, you also communicate that you are in control of your life. You're not emotionally dependent on her validation. You have your own mission, goals, and values. You're not waiting around hoping she'll pick you. You're deciding if she qualifies to be part of your world. Women respond very differently to men who choose. They feel your calm confidence, and it naturally creates attraction. There's no neediness, no desperation, and no emotional chasing. You simply lead, observe, and decide. This approach flips the dynamic completely in your favor. The shift from chasing to choosing isn't just a tactic, it's a mindset. It's understanding that you have value and options. It's realizing that your time, energy, and attention are valuable resources that not every woman deserves. And the moment you adopt this mindset, you instantly separate yourself from 99% of men who are still running around trying to prove themselves to women who aren't even interested. Stop chasing, start choosing. That's where real power begins. 4. Women follow strong leadership. If there's one thing most men don't fully understand, it's how much women crave leadership from a man. Not control, not domination, but real leadership. The kind that creates security, stability, and direction. This is one of the deepest psychological needs women have in relationships, even if they never say it out loud. In today's world, many men have been trained to avoid leading. They're told to be equal partners, to always seek her opinion first, to constantly compromise on everything, and to avoid making decisions for fear of being called controlling. But what ends up happening is these men become passive. They hand over the steering wheel, hoping that being agreeable will make her happy. It never does. When a man refuses to lead, a woman feels unsafe. Not in a physical way, but emotionally. She starts to sense that she's the one who has to carry the weight of the relationship, to make the decisions, to guide the direction of where things are going. Over time, this drains her emotionally and kills attraction. She doesn't want to carry that role. She wants to feel that you have it handled. Strong leadership is about being decisive, clear, and steady. It's about knowing where you're going in life and having the confidence to guide the relationship in that direction. It's about setting boundaries, making decisions, and providing structure. When you lead, you relieve her of the pressure of having to figure everything out herself. That creates trust. That creates desire. Women want to trust that you have a vision, that you know how to handle challenges, that you won't fold under pressure. And when they feel that, they naturally relax into their feminine energy. They don't have to constantly test you, because they feel safe under your leadership. Unfortunately, many men confuse leadership with being demanding or forceful. That's not leadership. True leadership is calm, steady, and firm. You're not emotional. You're not reactive. You're not trying to control her every move. Instead, you provide the environment where she can thrive, while you hold the frame of the relationship. Leadership also means being willing to walk away when your standards aren't met. You don't beg for her to stay. You don't argue endlessly to convince her of your point of view. You simply lay out what you expect, and if she aligns with it, the relationship works. If not, you move on. Women test men constantly to see if they're capable of leading. They push boundaries, throw emotional storms, or act unpredictable just to see how you respond. The man who stays grounded, who doesn't fold under the pressure, earns her respect. And respect is the foundation of long-term attraction. If you want a woman to follow you, you must first become the kind of man who leads with strength, certainty, and direction. Women follow strong leadership, always have, always will. 5. Compatibility is built, not found. A lot of men make the mistake of thinking that compatibility is something you magically stumble upon, that you're supposed to meet a woman who naturally fits your lifestyle, your values, your interests, your habits, without any work. This kind of thinking leads to frustration, constant searching, and disappointment when women don't perfectly match every little detail of what you're looking for. The truth is simple. Compatibility is something you build over time. It's not something you find on day one. Real relationships require two people learning how to align their lives, respect each other's differences, and grow together under a shared direction. If you're sitting around waiting for the perfect fit, you're going to wait a very long time. Or worse, waste good opportunities because they didn't look perfect right away. As a man, it's your leadership that sets the tone for compatibility. You don't need a woman who agrees with every opinion you have or shares every hobby. You need a woman who is willing to follow your lead, respect your mission, and grow with you. That's where true compatibility develops. When two people first meet, they're still strangers. You don't know how she responds to your leadership yet. You don't know if she's capable of respecting your standards or adapting to your vision. That only becomes clear through time, communication, and consistency. Compatibility is about both of you working toward a common direction, and it's your job to establish what that direction is. For example, imagine a man who's serious about his business, disciplined with his fitness, and committed to his personal growth. He meets a woman who isn't really into working out, isn't used to structured routines, and has a different social circle. If he expects instant compatibility, he might think she's not the one. But if he understands leadership, he brings her into his world. Over time, she starts to join him at the gym, adopts healthier habits, and sees the value in his disciplined lifestyle because she respects his consistency and leadership. That's how compatibility is built, not by accident, but by a man who knows where he's going and invites the right woman to follow him there. The problem for many men is they give up too quickly or expect a woman to already fit into their ideal version of a relationship. They forget that leadership means guiding, setting standards, and allowing space for growth. You don't change for her, you allow her to adapt to you. But for that to happen, you must first have clarity on who you are and where you're headed. Compatibility isn't a gift. It's the result of leadership, patience, and consistent standards. The men who understand this never complain about not finding the perfect woman, because they know perfection isn't found. It's created. 6. Emotions lie, standards don't. One of the biggest traps men fall into is letting their emotions guide their decisions with women. The early excitement, the chemistry, the butterflies, it all feels so powerful that it clouds judgment. Many men confuse these feelings for something meaningful, and as a result, they ignore red flags, overlook disrespect, and compromise on their standards just to keep that emotional high going. The problem is, emotions are temporary. They come and go. What feels amazing today might feel completely different a few months from now. And when you let your emotions run the show, you start making decisions that can cost you your peace, your self-respect, and your long-term happiness. That's where standards come in. Your standards are your anchor. They don't shift depending on how you feel in the moment. They're built from your values, your principles, and your vision for your life. When you have strong standards, you can enjoy the emotions without getting blinded by them. A lot of men get caught up thinking, "But I feel so strongly about her," or "We have such a great connection." And because of that, they start tolerating behavior they never would have accepted otherwise. Disrespect, inconsistency, lack of effort. They excuse it all because they're emotionally attached. But feelings aren't facts. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it's healthy or right for you. Your standards protect you from getting lost in your emotions. They serve as a filter that helps you evaluate whether a woman truly fits into your life. Does she respect your time? Does she bring peace instead of drama? Does she support your mission? If the answer is no, it doesn't matter how strong your feelings are. She's not the right fit. Men who rely on emotions end up in unstable relationships full of chaos and frustration. They stay with women who don't respect them simply because they feel a strong pull. Meanwhile, men who operate from standards build relationships based on mutual respect, stability, and growth. It's not about being cold or shutting down your emotions. You can feel whatever you feel, but your actions should be led by your standards. When you approach women from this place, you never lose yourself trying to keep a woman who isn't right for you. You stay grounded, clear, and unshakable. Women respect men who have standards. They may test you, they may challenge your boundaries, but deep down, they admire the man who won't compromise his self-respect for anyone, not even for them. That's the kind of man they're drawn to for the long term. In the end, your emotions can deceive you. They can make you chase, tolerate, and compromise in ways that damage your position. But your standards, when built properly, will always guide you toward the right decisions, no matter how you feel in the moment. 7. Create options, not attachments. One of the most dangerous positions a man can put himself in is becoming emotionally attached to one woman too soon, without having options. Too many men are guilty of locking themselves into a woman the moment she gives them attention. The moment she shows interest, they start investing everything, their time, energy, emotions, and even self-worth, into that single woman. And that's exactly how they lose power. Here's the reality. When you only have one option, you tolerate things you shouldn't. You start fearing loss. You become hesitant to speak up, scared to set boundaries, and too willing to accept disrespect, all because you've attached your entire sense of happiness to her. You become dependent, and once you're dependent, you've already lost. Men need to wake up from this fantasy that one woman will complete them. That thinking is weak. It's what keeps men stuck in toxic relationships, desperate situations, and emotional chaos. A high-value man doesn't operate like this. He doesn't get emotionally trapped by the first woman who shows him some affection. Instead, he builds options. Options aren't about playing games or being a player. They're about maintaining power, confidence, and choice. When you have options, you operate from abundance, not scarcity. You know that if one woman disrespects you or doesn't align with your standards, you can walk away without hesitation. You're not afraid to lose her because you know you can attract another. Too many men don't even realize how unattractive they become when they get attached too quickly. The moment a woman senses that you need her, that you're afraid to lose her, she starts losing respect for you. She tests you more, she pushes your boundaries, and she slowly chips away at your frame because she knows you won't leave. Building options starts with you. You focus on your purpose, your mission, your personal growth. You invest in your health, your skills, your career, and your social circle. You become a man who naturally attracts attention because you're building a life that others want to be part of. From that place, you have options, not because you're chasing women, but because you've become valuable. When you have options, you don't settle. You evaluate women carefully. You maintain your standards. You don't tolerate bad behavior because you're not desperate. And that confidence, that abundance mindset, makes you even more attractive. Ironically, women are far more drawn to men who can easily walk away than to men who are emotionally dependent. So it's time to stop acting like a man who needs a woman to feel complete. That's weak, and you're better than that. Build your life, build your value, build your options, and let women qualify themselves to you. Attachments create weakness. Options create freedom. Choose freedom. At the end of the day, most men aren't struggling because women are complicated. They're struggling because they've been taught to approach women completely backwards. You were never supposed to chase, beg, or wait for some magical perfect woman. You were supposed to build yourself into a man who doesn't need women, and that's exactly why women would want you. Here's something most people are too afraid to say. The moment you stop needing women is the moment women start needing you. That's the truth no one teaches men, and that's where your real power begins. If you keep chasing the idea of a perfect woman, you'll remain stuck like most men, desperate, lost, and constantly settling for less. But if you flip the script and take control, you'll realize women are drawn to the man who leads, not the man who follows. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me your experience, where you've struggled, where you've succeeded, or even where you've made mistakes. I read every comment, and I'm here to connect, guide, and respond to you directly. This isn't just another video. This is a conversation we're building. Let's help each other rise above the nonsense men are being fed. Stay sharp, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next one.